Welcome guys to the Meet Damien channel. I am Damien, and today's live stream we gotta talk about what Donald Trump did this past weekend and how that's affecting the markets with his talk about tariffs again. We just seen Donald Trump post on Truth social media. This was yesterday. He said that don't worry about China, it will all be fine. Highly respected President Xi just had a bad moment. He doesn't want depression for his country, and neither do I. The USA wants to help China, not hurt it. President DJT. Okay? And Trump basically saved the market from crashing today, going into Monday and Tuesday here, because Bitcoin took a brutal beating on Friday, okay? Where we saw Bitcoin drop down to like $107,000. And Bitcoin was like the only market that was able to trade over the weekend. But it kind of gave us an idea as like what to expect. Had Trump been serious about those tariffs, I think the Dow Jones futures, the S&P 500, the whole market was getting ready for like basically Black Monday 2.0. And then Trump said, "Just kidding," on Sunday, and you know, now we're seeing some green going back in the markets again. Bitcoin is still down compared to what it was on Friday. All right, we had that nice green candle here on Sunday when Donald Trump said, "Just kidding," where we saw Bitcoin go up like 4,000 points. Some traders were able to make some money over the weekend, but a lot of traders actually lost money after he said that he was going to do 100% tariffs on China. And not only that, there's some traders basically got liquidated to the point where some people were contemplating, unfortunately, taking their own lives. Okay, self-deletion here. I gotta be careful with what words I use on YouTube, but basically some people were gonna, you know, self-delete themselves here. And if I go on to you know, onto some messages here on Twitter, you can see that there was one guy here that said he thought about taking his own life multiple times. He was confident. He can confidently say that his mom saved his life by answering the phone call at 3 a.m. on a Saturday morning. And then he praised Jesus, and he said life can be hard, but when it gets too difficult, you know, it goes more into it. But basically, this guy lost $400,000. His stop loss that he had, that he thought was going to protect himself, it didn't trigger because the dump was so violent. And there's his P&L. He lost, you know, $403,000. Okay. So Trump's tariff talk, being tough on China, is actually costing people some money here, and some people are now on the watch list to taking their own lives because of what Donald Trump did with the markets and with his tweets. And over here we have another guy here that says, "Today was the worst day of my life. Over $9 million gone instantly. Typing this feels like opening a wound that's still bleeding, but I'm posting it because this space needs more honesty. You see the wins, the 100x calls, the yachts." He says this wasn't a rug, it wasn't a hack, it was me being overconfident, overexposed. So this guy does take a little bit of blame for being in the position that he is, where he lost that much money, over $9 million. But still, I mean, Trump needs to be careful with his words, and there's also some talks about, there's some insider trading where possibly someone opened up $100 million short on Ethereum, made like $190 million in profit on their Ethereum, and they did it right before, like a minute before Donald Trump announced that he was doing 100% tariffs. So there might be somebody in the White House, might even be one of Trump's sons, to be honest. Some people saying it might have been Barron Trump. But somebody took advantage of the situation and actually made some money shorting. And that was the way to make money in the markets over the weekend, in my opinion. It was, you know, shorting was the way to go here. And we thought that Bitcoin could probably go down to this 200-day moving average, especially if Donald Trump was serious about tariffs, which apparently he wasn't, but who knows? He could always say something about China, and then we come right back down to this 200-day moving average all over again. But that 200-day moving average is currently sitting at $106,990, almost $107,000 Bitcoin. If we lose this 200-day moving average, then I think it's game over for this rally in the markets here. I don't know. You tell me, guys. What do you think is going to happen if we lose the 200-day moving average? But I don't want to stick around and find out what happens, because I remember last time we lost the 200-day moving average. You know, we saw Bitcoin go all the way down to $74,000, and it stayed in, you know, below $80,000 for the majority of the time back in like March and April. This was, once again, talk about tariffs, being tough on China and tough on tariffs, and look how much damage it does to the markets, you know. If Trump is serious about putting tariffs or more restrictions on China, then, you know, we could probably possibly see us go back below $100,000 on Bitcoin. All right. But yeah, let me get into the chat, see what you guys have to say about this. You know, talk about tariffs in China and Donald Trump getting people to contemplate self-deleting themselves here. I see we got Steve Hickey in the chat. Good to see you, Steve. Hello to you. John316 says, "Are we in trouble?" Smash the like button. I don't think we'll be in trouble. I really think the simple solution, well, maybe it's not so simple, but the solution to this, you know, fixing the trade situation with China is that we have to build a refinery here to process those rare earth minerals. If we don't build that refinery, then we're going to be hostage to China, you know, restricting the amount of refined rare earth metals that they send to us. And this, the whole reason why Trump was threatening 100% tariffs is because China said that they were going to restrict the amount of rare earth minerals that are going to the United States, which we need for our smartphones, our computers, anything technology related. We need that. We need that for basically our economy for the future. And it's just sad that China is like the only place in the world that has the refinery capacity to do that. I believe as a national security interest, we need to actually build a refinery here, even if it's gonna, you know, not be profitable and cost too much money. It's gonna be a national security asset to make sure that we're not being held hostage by China. So all this stupid talk about tariffs, in my opinion, and making empty threats to China and not actually following through with them, you don't have to do that if you build a refinery here in America for those rare earth minerals. And then there's other things like with the medical industry. China does a lot of our prescription medicine and drugs are going through China before they come to here in America. We got to take care of that as a national security asset interest to protect ourselves in case China decides to do hostile stuff to us. But threatening tariffs is not the solution, in my opinion. Let's see what you guys are saying here on my TikTok. We got Cam in the chat here. Let's see, what is Cam? You said a few things here. And then Cursing is also saying hello to me as well. You lost $90,000 on one day. Cursing, please tell me you're joking. That's a lot of money to lose in one day. Wow. Did you have a stop loss? Did your stop loss get skipped over? I'm curious. I'm curious to know what your story is now. Cam says Trump and his kids are insider trading in crypto. They most likely are, and there's no rules or regulations against inside trading in crypto because it's such a brand new industry. They don't have the rules and regulations like they do with the stock market. So even if they do find out that it was Trump and his family that are doing insider trading, there's really no rules against it as of this moment, so they can get away with it. It's unfortunate to say that. So you gotta be careful with the Trumps and crypto now. A lot of people thought like they were the good guys, that they were gonna help crypto and stuff like that, and they probably did in some instances here, but in other instances they're kind of causing damage, and they might even be taking advantage of the damage, which is even worse to say, but it might actually be happening here. So yeah, let's see. Cam is saying here, Trump Canadian whale who shorted $700 million of Bitcoin and $350 million of Ethereum right before the Friday crash. Yeah, I wouldn't believe it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there was someone taking advantage of the situation. They knew what was going on there and they shorted it and made some money. Um, let's see. We also got Josh Shareem is in the chat. Hello to you. You want me to take a look at the Lumen AMPX? And let's see. Steve says here there was a guy named Garrett Jin that placed a $700 million short right before the crash and had a $195 million short today. Yeah, I heard there was someone that actually made like $190 million in profit on their Ethereum short. Was it Garrett Jin, or maybe it was maybe it was another guy? But yes, the people that made money were the people that put shorts on Friday. But then it was also hard for some of those shorts to actually cash in on their short and actually cover their short, because some of the exchanges went down over the weekend and on Friday night. So even if they wanted to actually close their trade, they couldn't. So because the exchange was down, so that was just shaking the confidence and the trust in the markets and these exchanges here. It's really a bad look for the exchanges not to be open for business when the markets are moving the way they're moving so fast there. But yeah, that did happen. And there was money to be made, but some people actually lost money shorting the market too, because of all the volatility going up and down and causing shorts to get stopped out and longs to get stopped out. Shorts were trying to actually cash in on their bets, but they couldn't. Just a lot of crazy stuff that puts a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth, to be honest. Anyways, let's see if we can move on here. We're going to take a look at Josh Shareem's request for Lumen and AMPX. Let me go ahead and type that in. We can always go back and look at Bitcoin later. All right. I just think right now Bitcoin's recovering. As long as Trump doesn't say anything ridiculous about tariffs again, I think we'll be all right. But we shall see. We shall see. You want to take a look at Lumen, which is Lumen Technologies on the New York Stock Exchange. So this is a stock. Currently at $6.70, up 1.7% today. And we got the moving averages here. I never looked at this company before. I don't have any previous chart work here, so I'm just looking at this for the first time with a fresh set of eyes. Looks like you topped out here in November of 2024. And could this be like a big giant cup and handle pattern that might get formed later on in the future? I don't know. But if this is a cup and handle pattern, then you would expect this to go up. I'm sorry, it kind of drew that funky, but you would expect this to, you know, probably go up, kind of hit where it hit here in November of 2024, when we saw this thing as high as like $10.33. Maybe get rejected off of that initially, because whoever bought in November 2024, maybe they want to break even and move on to other things. So they might click the sell button, and this thing could possibly go down after it hits 10 bucks, only for it to then gain some more steam here, make a higher low, and this would be the handle out of the, you know, the cup and handle, like a pot. This is like a pot, and this is the handle. And then you would just see this thing go up from there, make a higher low, and then go on to make higher highs. So could that be a possibility here with Lumen Technology? I don't know. But that, just, you can look up the cup and handle pattern and study it and just see, like, this thing could possibly be doing something like that in the near future here. I do like the fact that you're above the moving averages. The 200-day moving average, that red line, the 100-day moving average, the blue line, and the 50-day moving average, the green line. We're waiting for these moving averages to straighten themselves out, because the 200 should be on the bottom. And then the 150 should be also above the 200-day moving average. So you just gotta give it some time for the moving averages to straighten them out. It should look like this. This is how you know you're in a bull market, when you see the red below the blue below the green, and the green below the white line, the 21 exponential moving average over here in the past. So this was a bull market back in like 2024. Okay, and we could be going back into like a bull market here for Lumen Technologies. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the VRVP indicator here to see what the resistance might be if we go up to higher prices here. Looks like the VRVP is showing that a lot of the volume here, a lot of the buyers and sellers were buying this at lower prices than where we are right now. So this thing could be considered overvalued at this time. And if it is considered overvalued and we do get rejected, we could come back down to this white line below us. This is the value area high. And this whole area right here is the value area. When you got the value area low, the other white line below you, and you got the POC, which is the highest amount of volume that was traded at a certain price level. It looks like the POC is below you at $1.33. So a lot of people bought at $1.33. And this is data going all the way back. I'm getting all this data going all the way back to like February 2024. So the majority of people are in profit right now on Lumen Technologies. And the majority of people bought at lower prices than where we are right now. And you would expect that if we were to drop down, I would expect at least support on the value area high sitting at 544. Okay. Going forward, if we were to go to higher prices, I really don't see much resistance above you until like maybe like $9 here. But really, like, we haven't really spent much time going above like $8. Okay, on Lumen Technologies. So it could be off to the races when this thing actually hits $8. It might shoot to like $9 or $10 in a short order here, because there's really not much resistance once you get past $8. Let's see. Cameron is saying Trump is the same guy that bankrupted the casino, which is very hard to do. Oh God. And you said that Trump is his son has another short on Bitcoin. I wouldn't be surprised. You know, and they can get away with, you know, some of the stupid stuff. And Baron Trump is big on crypto, and so is some of the other sons of Donald Trump. I wouldn't be surprised if they're taking out longs and shorts and telling their dad, Donald, what to say and do to get the markets all riled up. And they can't really do it on the stock market because people are paying attention to that, and there's insider trading rules and laws against that. But they can get away with it with crypto because there's really no rules and regulations. They're literally trying to write the rules and regulations right now, and they can get away with insider trading in crypto because there's no rules for that. DZ's in the chat. DZ wants to take a look at Avantis. Yeah, we can take a look at Avantis for you. So we just looked at Lumen Technologies. I gave you the downside, upside targets, just using the VRVP here. I think this thing looks fine to me. Just, you know, once we get past $8, it could be off to the races. And I'll come and visit AMPX later, but let me do this request for DZ. He wants to look at Avantis. So we'll look at Avantis, and then I'll come back and look at APMX. Okay? All right. Let's take a look at Avantis. This is a cryptocurrency, a decentralized exchange token that I myself got involved in. But this thing has dropped down just as fast as it went up. And there are some reasons for that. The people that were marketing and the people that bought into Avantis, like the venture capitalists, they basically pumped this thing up. And then when they were ready to sell, they sold this thing down, and now we got Avantis basically back to where it started. You know, when it started trading here on Coinbase Exchange, this thing started trading on September 9th at around 27 cents. We're a little bit above that. We're at 61 cents, so we're, you know, people that bought here, they're still in profit, and they doubled their money so far with Avantis. But Avantis, you know, like I said, it has come down just as fast as it went up. Okay, so it's looking more like a pump and dump in my opinion here. But if this is a decentralized exchange and they're able to make money and hopefully maybe use that money to burn the token and create more value by limiting the supply of this token, then you would expect this thing to start climbing back up in price again, just like the other decentralized exchanges like Aerodrome Finance and stuff like that. If this is an exchange token, kind of like Binance token, then, you know, it should have some future potential to go to higher prices. And if it does have that future potential to go to higher prices, then first we got to get back up to this 0.236 level, sitting at like 78 cents. I believe, yeah, that's 78 cents. And then we'll see if we can work our way up to the 0.382 level here at $1.14. This is a level that we kind of traded at for a while here. You see that we had some sideways trading here back in like middle of September and also towards the end of September. We were trying to trading at this level. holding on to dear life, but we lost that over the last week here on Avantis. So I would expect, you know, Avantis to try to climb back up. And when it does get up to like $1.14, it might come up on resistance, because people that bought here, if they're not fully convinced and believers in Avantis, then when this thing does get back up to where they bought it at, they'll probably click the sell button and move on to something else, and they'll just be breaking even. So $1.14 is going to be a resistance level going forward for Avantis, okay? Then we'll just see how we work our way up the levels to higher prices than that. Can we get back up to the 618? Can you get back up to the 6.5 retracement, that golden pocket at $1.81, $1.73? That's another level to look out for. I don't see too much sideways trading action in this area. I do see a candlewick low that came down to that level on September 23rd. But yeah, this is another level to be looking out for. If you make it past $1.14, $1.73, $1.81 could be another resistance area, could be an area that we get rejected before we go down to lower prices. So be on the lookout for that on your Avantis long if you're long in this this asset here. But yeah, to the downside, I'm not sure how much more downside there is besides just coming back to where you started from in early September, when this thing was trading at like 25, 35, 40 cents, somewhere in that area. Okay, this would be probably literally the last line of defense. You don't want to go any further below this, because that means everybody is going to be losing out on their investment here with Avantis. If you lose, you know, 25 pennies here, you're basically doing a round trip and then some. Alright, DZ's asking, are there any bullish coins out there? You want me to give you like a stock pick or a crypto pick? Most of these coins are not going to be bullish unless Bitcoin, you know, shows some bullish price action. You know, I want to see Bitcoin. Let's go back to Bitcoin. You know, for your bullish pick here, you want to see Bitcoin get back up to 120K and not stay down here for too long. Okay, get back up to 120K, and then we can start talking about Bitcoin going 130K or higher. Okay, but you can't really be bullish until you actually get back up, in my opinion, to 120K, because it seems like, you know, around this area, like 119, 120K, we do not stay at 120K or higher for any good amount of time here. Like back here in August for Bitcoin, like we went up past 120K for like 1 or 2 days before we came right back below it. Okay, and then back here in like July, we saw, you know, Bitcoin go to 123K for the first time. But we didn't even end the day. You know, we didn't even close the day out here at 120K. So, I can't say that we'll be bullish or have any bullish coin until Bitcoin gets to 120K and can stay there for at least longer than 1 week, longer than 2 weeks. So I hate to give you like a coin to say, oh yeah, I'm bullish on this coin, because I can't be bullish, because the market really does follow what Bitcoin does, and we need Bitcoin to show us that we can go to higher prices here before we can say, oh yeah, you know, Sui or Solana or AVAX or Aerodrome is a coin that we can be bullish on. Because you can't be bullish on any coin here if Bitcoin is dropping down to lower prices on you. So it really comes back to that, you gotta follow Bitcoin. Let's see, FRLG says, learn the downside of margin, know your stop loss will be used against you. Cash, no margin, no stop, they all will be forced out. Yeah, I mean, we really saw how dangerous leverage can be. And even when you think you got your stop loss in place, there were people who saw their stop losses get skipped and then they got liquidated, and that is very brutal to see, but it is a possibility. It's one of the things we have to worry about with day trading. It's very scary that your stop loss can get skipped and you can lose even more money than you were planning on losing. But that's the game that we play here, guys. And sometimes, you know, taking out big positions and then just having a president that just tweets and can rock the markets anytime. It's tough to trade. You know, I actually talked to a professional day trader who works at an asset management company. I talked to them this weekend, he saw me at a party that I was at, and he saw me like looking at my phone, looking at Bitcoin, and that's how we started talking about crypto and everything else. But yeah, he told me that the guys at his firm, his asset management firm, the guys that are trading right now, that are doing this for professional living, they're getting anxiety attacks from Donald Trump's tweets and tariffs. Like his tariff tweets are causing them anxiety, and they said that this is like one of the toughest years to trade because of Donald Trump and what he does with his tweets on tariffs. So it's crazy to think, if you feel like you're having a hard day, hard time, the guys that are doing this for a living are also having a hard time trying to manage the markets and manage their trades with Donald Trump at the helm. DZ wants to take a look at Useless and Banker, I believe. And then I see Lauren A is in the chat and saying that she enjoys my videos. Thank you, Lauren, for coming in and letting people know that you enjoyed my videos here. Let's go. I'm going back, trying to see what you guys are saying here on TikTok. Cam says you bought a bag on August 2nd. And Max Payne says Dash is starting to go up again. That's interesting. And thank you, Max, for Max Payne and Lucas for following me here on TikTok. Appreciate that. Let's go ahead and let's try to smash that like button, guys. If you haven't done so already, let's my YouTube guys, if you can just hit that like button. We got 11 people watching right now, and we got 6 likes. Let's see if we can get the likes to match the amount of people that are watching right now. I think that should be easily doable. And then for my TikTok guys, if you could just double tap your screen, I appreciate that. And we'll move on to looking at AMPX. Let's take a look at AMPX here. I'm gonna turn the music down just a little bit. Empirus Technology. So we have another stock request here. And this thing is trading at $13.12. It's up 9.97% today. And I mean, this thing looks fine to me. It looks bullish. It's doing what it needs to do to be bullish. I can look at the moving averages. The 200 is below the 100. The 100 is below the 50. 21 EMA is above all of them. So this thing is looking quite bullish with the market structure that I've seen so far. Looks like it kind of created like a bull flag here during probably during the summer here, and you're just going up probably to the measure move up to like 13 bucks, and this looks like we could possibly make another bull flag here. Let's look at the oscillators real quick, see you know, if this thing is overbought by any means. Looks like on the RSI, this thing is chilling out at 65 on the RSI, so you still have room to go to higher prices if you want to here. However, the one thing I am a little bit worried about that I'm seeing in the chart is a little bit of possible bearish divergence with the lower RSIs. You have RSI back here in October 6th at 77, and then an RSI here in September 22nd at 81. So you got, you know, lower RSI levels, but you also have, you know, you have higher highs being formed here on the price. So higher highs, lower highs, that's your bearish divergence. So this thing, bearish divergence is just something to keep in mind. It doesn't mean that you have to start selling this asset right now. But bearish divergence, you have to see how this plays out, because you can still go up to higher prices and still make another higher high, and then you end up having like kind of like triple bearish divergence maybe, and make another lower high here on the RSI. Okay, but more likely than not, you're probably going to go sideways, and that's okay, because if you go sideways on this asset and you just hang out at 13 bucks, then that gives the RSI a chance to reset itself, and then maybe eventually you can make a higher high on the RSI and also make a higher high on the prices later on in the future. But I think this thing needs to like kind of like trade sideways for a little bit at this level before we make another run up to higher prices here. Now, another thing with the bearish divergence is if something bad happens, like if this company has like a bad earnings report, like we have an earnings report coming up here sometime in November, it looks like. If they report bad earnings, then that could also send this stock down to lower prices. And if it does go down to lower prices, you would think like the sideways trading action back here in the summer at like $7, $8 could be an area where you could scoop up some cheaper Empires here, or however you say it. You can scoop up this asset at cheaper prices at this level if you do get a bad earnings report. And you also have the 50-day moving average below you at $7. You would think like the 50-day moving average would at least get respected. If this is a pretty solid company to be in, it shouldn't lose the 50-day moving average. And that 50-day moving average sitting at $7 should provide support at that area. So I think, you know, anywhere between $6 to $8 here is a good area to scoop up some cheaper Empires if you're able to do so here. And then as far as like how far could this thing go to higher prices, I can quickly draw a Fibonacci for you. And maybe we can look at some fib extension levels that can give us an idea as like how high the stock could possibly go. You know, I'll measure it from here. Yeah. Alright, so we got a 1272 that says you can see a $16 in Prius here. And then you got a 1618 that says $18 could be another take profit target for you in the future. So ask me about this stock, you know, in one of the future live streams here, and we'll just come and revisit this one and see if it actually hit these levels. But I think your upside target is going to be $16 and then $18.63. Thank you, Joshua Reem, for hitting that like button. And DZ, I guess we'll take a look at Useless for you, and then Banker. Yeah, let's take a look at those. All right. Useless. I'm not sure why anybody would want to name their project or their coin Useless. It's you know, like, don't you want to be useful? I don't know. Useless looks like it started trading on Mexi Exchange back here in May 12th of 2025 here. This thing is currently trading at 41 cents. It's up 24% today, so it's having a pretty decent day today. Good to see that. Good to see that. Looks like you kind of retrace all this downward price action that you've had over like on Thursday, Friday, and this whole weekend. Yeah, Useless had a bad weekend, just like a lot of the other altcoins here, but it's actually regained everything that it lost and then some, and we're actually making a new higher high compared to what we did here on Thursday. You know, well, maybe it's the same high, but we got up to like 42 cents here on Thursday of last week, and then here today we got up to like 42.5 cents. So technically making a higher high. That's very nice to see. Is it higher than this high back here in July? Oh, we got up to like 44 cents. So you would think like we are coming up on some resistance here between 42 and 44 cents on this coin. Whoever bought here in July, they might actually just click the sell button on you when it does get up to 44 cents. Because they're just breaking even, and maybe they want to get into something else besides Useless coin. But I think Useless is doing great from what I'm seeing with the market structure, because you had a downtrend, right? All throughout the summer. And you broke out of the downtrend very convincingly. Then you came and actually back tested, you retraced down to this downtrend, used it as support, and now you're launching yourself back up to higher prices again. So this thing is looking pretty useful, not useless. Okay, in my opinion. But let's go ahead and draw the Fibonacci to see, you know, where this thing could possibly go next. Okay, so if this thing will continue being bullish like it has done so over the last couple of weeks, then we have a 1272 that says this thing can get up to like 50 cents and then it might get rejected. And then we have a 1618 that says this thing can get up to like 60 cents before, you know, maybe it gets rejected and sold off at that area. So those are your take profit targets to the upside if this thing continues being bullish as of now. And then, you know, if for some reason, you know, Trump says something about tariffs again and the markets get rocked again, or we just have a bad day in crypto for some reason and this thing is having a bad day, then you could retrace yourself back up to the 618 at 31 cents, 32 cents in this golden pocket area. That's an area to look for if we just come down, maybe possibly make a higher low before we go to higher prices on Useless. DZ, you're welcome for the TA. I'm glad to see you in the live chat. You guys keep me busy here, and I love seeing you guys show up to the live stream, so I can have some coins to talk about and some stocks to talk about. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at Banker. That was the other request from DZ here. And if you guys have any more requests for any stocks or cryptos, let me know, because I'm kind of coming up a little bit short on the requests here. Same thing with my TikTok guys. You guys are being kind of quiet today. But if not, we'll just take a look at some of the cryptos that I want to get involved in. Some of the ones that I want to talk about. But for now, we'll take a look at Banker. BNKR. I believe, yeah, you want to look at Banker, the cryptocurrency, because there is a Banker, the stock. But anyways, Banker is currently trading at, we'll just call this 4,350, down 5.4% today. And, yeah, Banker, did you get delisted? Looks like this thing was trading back here in April on Mexi, and then, yeah, then it got relisted again on July. And this kind of looks like it created like a bull flag, maybe. You are trading at higher prices than you were back in April and March of this year. But what I don't like about the market structure on this particular coin is that you're making lower highs still. Okay, you're still doing a downtrend on Banker. Banker needs to show that you can actually cast some bids here and get above this downtrend. Now, if we get up to probably 5,300, don't be surprised if we get rejected again and come right back down to the 4,000 level all over again. Looks like we're kind of, even though this is a downtrend, it looks like you're kind of staying in this area right here at what is it, 4,200. Looks like 4,200 is an area that gets respected as support. So now you have yourself basically a descending triangle for the market structure that you're in here. And yeah, you had like a little bit of a fake out like this weekend where we almost lost this descending triangle that we're in. Okay. But for the most part, it looks like 4,200 usually stays as support, because you've seen it has acted as support back here in like Sunday, September 28th and September 15th as well. We've used this as support. So I just think like you're hanging on to support, but you're not catching the bids. You'll probably get rejected again if you come up to like 53, 5,400, and you might stay in this descending triangle till like up to like Halloween time. And then I don't know, it looks like somewhere around Halloween time is like where the resolution is going to be. Like, are we going to drop, or are we actually going to go climb up to higher prices? Or there's a third option. We could just continue going sideways and frustrating the crap out of everybody. But yeah, you would think like this market structure, this descending triangle, this should come to an end around like Halloween time, going into like November. But we shall see. We shall see if we actually able to do something here. Stop making lower highs. Can you make higher highs? I'd like to see that. Can you get past the highs here on October 8th? We got up to like 6,200. Can you get past the highs here on September 19th when we got up to like 7,900? You got to start making higher lows and higher highs and climbing up to higher prices to get people excited about this coin, in my opinion here. My TikTok guys, I might lose you for a moment. I just gotta check. I think a voicemail came in. I gotta see if it was an important phone call. Just bear with me for about a quick 10 seconds here. Okay. Yep. All right. Yep. I'm back with you guys. Yeah, I just had a phone call. Got an appointment later on this week, and they're just trying to confirm if I'm going to be showing up to the appointment. All right. Moving on from Banker. I mean, do you want me to give you upside targets? The upside targets is, can we just get above the previous highs here? the lower highs that we've created. Those are your price targets to the upside. And then downside, you know, don't lose the price that you saw. You know, don't lose 4100 because that's been acting as solid support as of now. All right, Josh Shareem wants to look at Zora and Serve, and then DZ wants to look at SQD. Let me go ahead and write these down so I don't forget. But we're gonna look at Zora and Serve, and then SQD. And then here on TikTok, Mr. Dez wants to look at Pith. All right, we'll take a look at that as well. Thank you guys for the requests. Don't forget to hit the like button, especially if I'm giving you some good TA, some good technical analysis on your favorite coins and stocks. You gotta at least show the appreciation by hitting that like button. That helps me out on the YouTube, TikTok algorithms here, and gets the video out to more people. All right, let's take a look at Zora. Oh no, I'm kind of running out of water. I might have to refill. Zora, currently trading at 9 cents. Up 0.4%. Not bad. At least it's up, not down, right? What do we got here for Zora? Looks like you had a nice impulse move here in July. Casting some bids here. Made a higher low. Put some more bids here in August. You topped out at like almost 15 cents here, August 11th. But you're making lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. And now it looks like you got out of this downtrend. I can just visualize. I don't think I need to draw it out. You guys can see that, right? You made lower highs and then all of a sudden we jumped up here. And you got up to like almost 12.5 cents here on October 10th. So this thing does have some movement going forward, and it is up and to the right for the most part. Could this be a bull flag that it's going to try to create at some point here? I don't know. What I will do is I will draw a Fibonacci to figure out what the levels might be for Zora here. So you have a 618 golden pocket at like basically where we're at. We're hanging out at the golden pocket at 9 cents. 9.5 cents for the 6.5 golden number there. Possible resistance could occur at that 786 retracement at like 10.5 cents. 0.106 pennies to be exact. And then we'll just see if we can get right back to 12.5 cents. But these are some levels to look for to the upside. To the downside, if this thing does start losing its momentum to the upside and starts coming down for any reason, you do have the 50-day moving average at 6.5 pennies, which is slightly above this 0.236 retracement at 6 pennies. So I think 6.5 pennies is a good area to buy this crypto, if you're able to get some at those cheaper prices. But you would think like if we did come down here, revisited the 50-day moving average, we could use that as support, make a higher low to then go up to higher prices here on Zora. And I think those are going to be your downside and upside targets for Zora as of now. Yeah, let me just turn the VRVP, see if there's any more that we can gather from the VRVP data. Alright, you got a value area high sitting at 9 pennies. So a lot of people did buy at 9 pennies here. And you would expect 9 pennies to hold as support. As it did earlier today. We got down to like 0.089 pennies on Coinbase Exchange. So I think 9 pennies is a support level for now. And then if we can go up to higher prices, you know, I kind of have to get rid of this Fibonacci for now, but you do have like some resistance here at 10.5 pennies, which we already mentioned was a level to look out for. And then you have some more resistance at 11.5 pennies. And then the resistance starts to die off, the volume starts to drop off here on the VRVP. And then maybe some resistance here at like 14 pennies. And that's it. And then it's like off to the races after that. Alright, so we'll now take a look at Serve, and then SQD and DZ just asked for Toshi. Alright, I'll add that to the board here. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at Serve. Oh wow, I got a lot of things going on in this chart here. Let me go ahead and get rid of this VRVP. And we have looked at Serve. This is a technology stock. It looks like it involves robotics here. It has robotics in the name. This thing is up 10% today at $16.50. I'm a little bit curious. I might have to get involved. I'm interested in getting involved in AI and robotics here. So if you can let me know more about it, was it Josh Shareem? Can you tell me more about Serve? Because I might be interested in getting involved in this stock if I can. Analyst ratings have it as a strong buy. Let's see, this thing, what does it do? Serve Robotics engages in providing self-driving delivery. It designs, develops, and operates zero-emission robots that serve people in public spaces, starting with food delivery. The company was founded by, I can't really say his name, but looks like it was founded and started in 2017 and headquartered in Redwood City, California. So is this, I'm curious, is this like one of those like little small robots that you see like going down the sidewalk and then it delivers food to people? Because I think I've seen that in on YouTube and on like CNBC and stuff like that. But anyways, I think this thing is looking fine and dandy. Another good stock to get into. Another good stock pick from Josh Shareem. Josh Shareem says that Serve just bagged a multi-year contract with DoorDash. Alright, so that's probably why their stock is climbing and heading up and to the right here. And if this thing continues climbing and going up and to the right, I have done previous Fibonacci analysis and showing that this thing could get itself up to the 1618 at $20. Or like, what, $3.50 away from that target. So $20 is a target to be looking out for, but we're also kind of already at this 1272 at 1682. I think this thing is fine. Let's look at the oscillators real quick. We'll look at the RSI. Is it overbought right now? You're at an RSI of 63, so you're not even overbought. You have the room to go to the higher prices here and not even be overbought, so that's looking good. And you're making higher lows on the RSI, as well as making higher highs for the most part. I think this is a pretty solid pick here from Josh Shareem. Worth getting into. You might want to take a look at this, guys, if you're involved in stocks. Money flow is looking healthy, and money is flowing into this stock. You had a green buy dot that came in on October 3rd saying that you should have bought on October 3rd and you would have enjoyed higher prices as well as more money flow going into this thing. You just gotta be careful because like after a green buy dot, there should be a red sell dot at some point. You just don't know when that's gonna happen, but when you see that red sell dot show up on Market Cipher B, like it did here on September 25th, just know like that's probably a time for you to sell if you're trading it. But if you're in this thing for the long term, then you're just waiting for that red sell dot to come in, and maybe the stock goes on a discount, and then you could buy some more at cheaper prices. But yeah, you don't have a red sell dot yet, but you're on the lookout. You're on like the watch for it. It could happen today, tomorrow, next week. You just don't know. But when you see that red sell dot, that should be a signal to at least get out of the stock and take your profits if you have profits. So far so good on Serve. I don't think this thing is gonna go down to lower prices, and if it does, the 21 EMA could provide support at $13.28, and then of course you got the other moving averages below you. Looks like they're hanging out at like $11. So maybe you might be able to get lucky enough to buy some Serve at $11 here, where the moving averages are at. And also the 21 EMA. That's the line that some traders use and some don't, but I think the 21 EMA, that could be a hidden target. $13 should be a solid area to buy some cheaper serve if you're able to do so. Uh-oh. Josh Shareem says that the insiders are already selling their shares on serve. So that could be a hint to get out, at least in the short term here. But if you do get some downside, I think it's only going to come down to like 13 bucks here. You might get it at 11 bucks. All right, moving on from serve, we get to take a look at SQD and then PIF. All right. SQD. Trading at 19 cents, down 1.9% today. And you are currently above the moving averages, which is good to see. That means you can start being bullish as long as you're above that 2-day moving average. Sitting at 16.5 cents, you can be bullishly biased in your opinion on SQD here. So yeah, I would be looking for longs on SQD if I was trading it. I just had to zoom out there to see what it's done in the past here. But this could be like a bull flag that gets formed, or a bullish pennant. Let me get rid of the moving averages here. Looks like you kind of have what could be an uptrend here. And what else we have? We got kind of possibly a downtrend with some lower highs on the wicks. But yeah, maybe this thing kind of like trades in between this range, anywhere between like 17.5 cents up to like 25.5 cents. You just bounce up and down until you eventually get, you know, either you're gonna go up to higher prices or you're gonna just fail and come down to lower prices here. But we shall see. We shall see. This is just an idea. Doesn't mean that it's actually gonna play out this way. But this could possibly be like a symmetrical triangle or a pennant here that's forming on SQD. Let's go ahead and do the Fibonacci on this one, see where it could go. So we're just gonna measure from the lows here to the highs, and from here to here. We got some levels to look for here. So we got the golden pocket sticks out, right? That golden number at 20 cents. You would think that could act as resistance if you get up to those prices. You also got the 618 at 19.5 cents. So we're coming up on the golden pocket here as the normal retracement for a lot of pullbacks here. If this thing was to climb above that, then there could be some resistance here at 23 cents. 23 cents has acted as like a, well, here we kind of like had a candle opening around 23 cents, and in this green candle we closed at like 23 cents. So 23 cents could be a resistance level going forward. That's another level to be looking out for. You got the candle with candle body closes and opening here at that level, and then you also got the 786 retracement saying that 23 cents should be an area to look for. And then can you get back up to 27 cents? And we'll just take it one level at a time, but can you get up to 27 cents? If you are, then we can start talking about like the 1272 at 32 cents, and then the 1618 at 40 cents should be your long-term swing trading take profit target for SQD here. Yeah. Let me go through on the moving averages, because I think that's going to be where your support's going to be if you go down to low prices. You got the 200-day moving averages at 16.5 cents. And then you got, if you really come down far, you got the 50-day moving average green line providing support at 13 cents. So I think the moving averages is where you're going to be looking for your support if this thing does come down for any reason. If it does come down, it should get support off of these moving averages below it. Alrighty, moving on from SQD, we're going to take a look at PIF. Alright, so I have already done previous chart work on this asset. PIF is at 12 almost 13 cents, up 6.6% today. And I'm still going to use the Fibonacci for this one. Wow, what the hell is this all about? On Friday, this thing came all the way down to like 4 or 5 pennies. Yikes. What? This is on Binance Exchange? Oh. I heard there was some crazy trading action going on Binance on Friday. Looks like this is one of the assets that actually... Oof. I hope no one actually got stopped out and had to buy back in again at higher prices here, but I can imagine that probably did happen to somebody. Gotta be careful out there in cryptocurrency world. I mean, the same stuff happens in the stock market. Like, the stock market is not immune to this either. But crypto, man, it seems a little bit more prevalent. With these scam wicks to the downside, and also scam wicks to the upside as well. But let's see, Fibonacci, if this thing was to obey the TA on the Fibonacci, then this 0.236 level, right? That 0.236 level is a level to look out for here at 14, almost 15 pennies, 0.147 pennies to be exact. And you can see that's literally what we came up to here on this candle here for this daily candle here on Monday, October 13th. We came right up to that 0.236 retracement and we got rejected. So TA is still getting respected, and also that 0.147 penny level is where that 21 EMA was. So the 21 EMA and also the 0.236 was saying that, yeah, you're gonna get rejected at this area. So do you now see, guys, why I use the 21 EMA? Because there's other traders out there that are using the 21 EMA, that white line, and this thing got rejected off of that. And it also was a level to look for on the Fibonacci, so 0.147 pennies. It seems like magic, right? But this is what other traders are looking for. Not just traders, there's also bots out there that pay attention to these moving averages and the Fibonacci levels. So they're also putting in their sell orders when they see something like that happen. So I think this is why you need to implement the Fibonacci if you want to be a better trader, and also implement this 21 EMA exponential moving average into your charts, and you'll see why things actually happen the way they do. The charts will basically tell you like where the rejection levels is going to be, and that was the 0.236 level at 14, almost 15 pennies here. All right. So TA getting respected. Also, I have highlighted another level here at 13 pennies. I believe 13 pennies was an area that acted as resistance. You got some support at this level, as you know, earlier this year. So 13 pennies is a level to look out for, and that's literally where we're at right now. But once we can flip this from resistance into support, then I think we're gonna make another go. For 14, 0.147 pennies. I think Pith is going to try to attack that area one more time to the upside, and then if we can, punch through this, then we got to start looking at how is this thing going to handle itself at the 0.382 level at like 16 pennies, almost 17 pennies, 0.167 pennies to be exact. So we'll just play this one level at a time here, but yeah, I mean it's good to see that TA is getting respected on the charts here. And we'll just take it one level at a time. Once we get past 13 pennies, then it's going to be how we handle ourselves at 15 pennies. And once we get past 15 pennies, it's like, all right, how do we handle ourselves at 0.167 pennies? Those are your levels to look out for on Pith. Wow, Joshua, you're doing pretty well there with Serve. Glad to hear that you were able to make that kind of money. All right, Jay says chickens out. Oh, we got somebody here that doesn't like my title to the video. You must be a Trump supporter. I actually voted for Trump. I just don't like it when he talks about tariffs, because not only does he talk about tariffs, but he's not serious about it. Because look, I mean, he said 100% tariffs, and he said just kidding like 2 days later. And it's like, well, what was the whole point of that? Unless they're doing insider trading. Unless Baron Trump was shorting crypto and made a shit ton of money, and then his dad said, "All right, what else do you need from me? Oh, you want things to go back up again? All right, I'm just gonna say everything's looking fine with China, so that way you can do a long and make more money on the way up." You know, it's just like insider trading BS. But other than that, I mean, Trump's all right. He's an all right guy. I mean, I did vote for him myself, even though I don't agree with his tariff policies here. You know, I think he is doing most things right. All right, we gotta look at Toshi after this, and then Josh Reem wants to look at PayPal. Okay, let me go ahead and write that down. PayPal. Jesus says, "Are the tariffs gone now?" I don't know. You know, like I think Trump realized that he was gonna crash the market, and we were gonna have Black Monday 2.0 if he didn't say something good about the China tariff situation. So I think that's why he walked back. But we've seen this kind of behavior with Donald Trump in the past already, where he talks a big game and then he walks it back. And you know, there's a joke going around that Trump always chickens out. They call it taco, the taco trade. And it's like, all right, yeah, Trump likes to shock people, and then that's when you buy the dip, and then he walks things back, and then you're able to make money by buying, you know, things on the cheap. And then when he walks things back, you're able to sell at a higher price. And it's just, ugh. To me, it makes me want to vomit. But whatever, you know. Market's gonna do what Market's gonna do. Even if we have a president saying and doing ridiculous things. I'm just worried about the people who are talking about self-deleting themselves because of all the money that they lost in their leveraged trades over the weekend. I really hate to see that someone would end their life only to have the tariffs not even actually go through. It's like, you did that. You know, life is very precious, and you know, money isn't always everything. It kind of is, but it isn't at the same time. And you shouldn't be taking your life over money. You can always make that money back again, and just take it as a lesson learned, not to have too much leverage and too much in one position. But anyways, let's carry on here. We're looking at Toshi trading at 8,060 is what I'm going to call it. Down 3.6%. This is what it looks like on the daily chart here. I have done Fibonacci analysis on this, measuring from the high here at like 11,660. Where we saw Toshi get as high as 11,660 back here in September 17th. And, you know, we have the levels here to look for on the Fibonacci. Looks like the 0.32 at 7,772 is the level to look out for below us. And then above us, we have the 0.5 retracement at 8,515. That's going to act as resistance initially until we can actually flip it into support and then try to make our way up to at least this golden pocket at like 92,050 or 94,050. So this is another level to be looking for to the upside on Toshi. So for you day traders, I mean, I'd be looking for these levels right here to the upside. And if you're interested in shorting this, then maybe you try to, you know, take this thing down. If we can break past this 0.32 level, look out below. You might not get some support until you get down to this 6,800 level, which is kind of like where that 50-day moving average is sitting at as well. So if you're shorting this, you're looking for this level here. And if you're long in it, you're looking for the golden pocket. Right now, the 0.5 retracement, we're so close to it, I'm not sure if that's going to be a profitable trade to be taken, but I mean, I guess you could try to see if you can push this thing back up to 8,500, and that's almost like 10% away, right? Let's see. I measure from here to here. About 5% move. Yeah, not really anything to walk home about. You could slap some 10x leverage and make that a 50% gain. And if you're gonna do something like that, I would just put the stop loss probably like below the lows for the day. But you're also risking about, 4% here, 5%. If you're doing 10x leverage, that's like a 42% drop just to try to get a 50% gain. I don't know if that's worth it. I would be looking more for the golden pocket level here, where you get like a 14% gain. You put 10x leverage on that, and that's about 140% gain. All right. But yeah, that's Toshi. Toshi just, it's fine. All the moving averages are below you, and you're still in the bull run uptrend here. I would want to see us make a higher high than what we did here on October 8th when we got to like 10,750. I think that's the next order of business for us to continue being bullish on Toshi. We gotta eventually make a higher high than what we did here in October 8th. It was only a few days ago. Yeah. All right, moving on from Toshi, let's take a look at PayPal. And guys, I'm gonna leave the chart up for a little bit here, but I want to get some more water. Kind of running low on my water here. Give me like 10 seconds. Alright, I'm back with you. Jesus, what are you talking about? Nuking things now? Jesus, believe it or not, there are some people that do leverage trade altcoins, small altcoins, and I don't think you really need to do so with the altcoins. And if you do, you want to keep it low leverage for the most part, because they're very volatile to begin with, and you don't really need too much leverage on an altcoin. And then also, you probably don't want to use too much margin either. You probably want to use small positions on your altcoin leverage trades. But anyways, looking at PayPal. PayPal currently trading at $68.45, down 1.9% today, almost 2%. And I have done previous chart work here on PayPal, probably because you asked about this, probably a few days ago, or maybe a few weeks ago. Let's see, I think I draw the Fibonacci from like the lows here in April to the high here, where we saw this thing get as high as $79.50 on July 28th. And I think this Fibonacci is still useful to be using here. Right now, you are you're above the 0.5 retracement. I know you guys can probably barely see the number because the number kind of blends in with the green candles here, but it looks like this is at $67. Okay, so stay above $67, and I think you'll be all right on PayPal. If not, then you're basically doing a round trip back to where you were in the end of September here. So yeah, that wouldn't be fun, but it could still happen here. I think if you stay above $67, you're still technically making a higher low here, and then you can start working your way back up to try to make a higher high at some point. We are losing the golden pocket currently at this moment. The golden pocket is at $70 here, $70.41. And yeah, it looks like you're also getting rejected off the 50-day moving average. That green line is at $71. So I don't know what's going on with PayPal. Is there some news going on? Because like you had a pretty bad red day here on Friday, down 7.8% on Friday. That might have been related to the Trump tariff talk as well. 100% tariffs on China. I know a lot of stocks and cryptos had a bad day last Friday, so this is probably not too surprising here. However, you are continuing to get follow through to the downside, and I don't like that either for PayPal. Okay, but I mean, if you're trying to buy the dip here, if you're viewing this as a buying opportunity, then yeah, you could buy PayPal right now at $68. And you might even get it cheaper at the $67 level here with that 0.5 retracement sat. But if you lose $67, then you're basically doing a round trip to like what you started in October. Like the beginning of October, this thing was at 66 bucks. That would be unfortunate, but there is, you know, looks like there's a good amount of support at the 66, you know, $65 level here. I kind of wanted to get rid of this Fibonacci for now. I want to turn the VRVP. See what that looks like here. You're at the point of control. You're literally at the point of control. The majority of people have bought PayPal at the price that it's trading at right now. That blue line is sitting at $68 right now. So there should be a lot of support right now for PayPal. This is data going all the way back to like January of this year, like the whole year. The majority of people have bought PayPal at this level here. So a lot of people are just at break even right now. They're not going to click the sell button unless you lose 68 bucks. And then people probably won't panic until you lose like $65 here on PayPal. And then it could drop like a rock on you to like, you know, below 60, sub 60 here. But if this is a buy to dip opportunity and then PayPal is able to recover and go to higher prices here, I think once you get past 70 bucks, there's some resistance at that level. But once you get past 70 bucks, it should springboard itself up to like 72 and then 73. And then maybe get back up to the value area high at 78 bucks, which is another area that people were buying and selling PayPal. That's your value area high right there, sitting above you at 78 bucks. So, yeah, you could buy at 68 and try to sell at 78. And if you do that, right? If you do that on PayPal, buy at 68, sell at 78, you got a 14% gain on you. And I think you put your stop loss right where this value area low's at. You're risking 3% to try and get 14%. That's a good trade. Good trade to take right there. Josh Areen, you just subscribed? Oh, I've seen you before. And you're now subscribing? I appreciate the subscribe, but I would have thought you would have subscribed earlier. It's all good though. Alright. Lauren, you know, I think you know the answer to that question. I am not married or in a relationship right now. But I'm a little bit curious why you ask. You asking for a friend? I am single like a dollar bill right now. Josh Areen says PayPal never recovered from Friday unlike some others have. Yeah, I mean PayPal could be a buying opportunity, but I don't know. Like, is there something in the news about PayPal? Because you would think they would catch some bids here if the rest of the market is going up, right? Why is PayPal going down? I don't know. Chiyama wants me to take a look at gold. We can take a look at gold. Yeah, definitely. Wow, what happened to my viewers on TikTok? Who's still here on TikTok? Is there something going wrong with my phone? Let me just take my VPN off. Sometimes that messes things up here. Alright, I just took my VPN off. Hopefully that helps my TikTok guys. Sometimes, you know, I use a VPN on my phone and I think it messes up the live stream here. But I just took it off for you guys. BH Dimples in the chat. Hello to you. Hello to you. Yep. Alright. Well, yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at gold for Chiyama. Wow, wowee, gold making new all-time highs again. What else is new these days? Gold is currently trading at $4,110, up $92 today, up 2.3%. Nice solid green candle. This is the most bullish chart of 2025 out of all the assets out there. Even more bullish probably than Bitcoin. But we are coming up to the 1618 at $4,099. You would think people would start taking profits if they haven't done so already. Also with gold, you know, we are overbought on the daily time frame, but we've been overbought for a while. How much longer can we stay overbought on gold? We're trading at an RSI of like 80.87. Anything above 70 is considered overbought. We have seen the RSI get as high as like 86 last week, so yikes. I have some ideas as to like what could cause the price of gold to go down. And it could be if we get some more good news about them lowering interest rates and the economy doing fine here, that people might start selling their gold to get back into stocks again. Also, if we get some more resolution with trade tension, you know, not trade, but like tensions around the world with like NATO and Ukraine versus like versus Russia. If Russia actually comes to the negotiation table, then I think that takes a lot of fear and uncertainty out of the picture, and that would cause the price of gold to go down as well. And I've been hearing like there's some jewelry stores out there that are actually taking like gold watches and you know, bracelets and diamond rings, and they're actually taking the gold out of there and melting it back down and sending it back to the gold vendors out there, and they're trying to sell like their jewelry now to try and provide more supply and make some money, because the gold is now worth more than the diamonds itself. So that could put more supply in the market and cause the price of gold to go down as well. And if the price of gold does go down, we do have the 21 EMA below us sitting at 3,833. You would think that would act as support, but if we slice through that, then you know, maybe we have to come down to the 50-day moving average sitting at 3,473. I think this 3,400 level, which is the level that we were trading at for like the good majority of 2025 here, this is a level that should act as support if gold has a blow off top and starts crashing down. You would think $3,400 should act as support, because all these people they bought here, they would just be back to break even again. They're not going to actually sell their gold unless we lose $3,300 an ounce here on gold. DZ's in the chat says precious metal is going to go up for the next couple of years until the economy does better. Well, I think the economy could do better. It could do better. If they lower interest rates, that's going to help, which they were planning on doing. They're still waiting to get some more better data about inflation, but if we get some good news about the about inflation coming down, and if the jobs market holds on without actually going into a recession here, that could cause the price of gold to come down, because people will then start investing in stocks again. They'll sell their gold to get back into stocks, because you have to remember, gold just goes up. It just goes up, and it's kind of like Bitcoin. It doesn't earn interest. It doesn't have earnings report. It's just a piece of rock. It's a rock that's hard to find, but you know, gold doesn't pay you dividends, and there's some stocks out there that pay you dividends, and that's what gold has to compete against. And if these companies are able to pay their dividends and appreciate in value, then that's going to take away the shine and lust on the shiny sparkle here for gold. And right now, I just think, you know, we got speculators just speculating, and they're buying high, they go sell higher, and trying to do the greater fool theory here, where they think they can sell to someone at a higher price. But eventually this will come to an end at some point. I see Chris Klein's in the chat. How you doing, buddy? He says, hello, Damien. How are you doing today? I'm surprised the market didn't tank anymore today. Well, the market didn't tank because Donald Trump walked back his threats about China tariffs, which might not even go through. And if they do go through, they might not even last long, because I know the Supreme Court is talking about the Supreme Court is going to hear a case about Donald Trump's tariffs, and they might rule that his tariffs are illegal and unconstitutional. So even if he does slap 100% tariffs on China, it might get taken away by the Supreme Court. So, like, what's the point? It's just almost empty threats at this point. But we wouldn't have to do these tariffs on China if we actually had like a refiner. If we had a refinery here for rare earth minerals, we wouldn't be held hostage by China limiting how much rare earth metals they're going to give us, because we can make it here ourselves. But we don't have that, so then Trump has to do something ridiculous like slap 100% tariffs on China. But like, in my opinion, that would actually do more damage to the United States than it would China. Because yeah, it would actually affect their businesses over in China, okay? But it would actually affect the businesses here, because there's a lot of small businesses and companies that are trying to buy product from China before Christmas comes. And if Trump slaps 100% tariffs, that means the companies here have to buy products here in America at double the price and then try to sell it to their customers. That's gonna bankrupt some of these small mom and pop companies here in America. So like, that's bad for business over here as well, not just China. And China can do stimulus programs. They do stimulus programs to keep their business up and running. But like, where are the stimulus programs for the small business here that are gonna get hurt by 100% tariffs? Like, is Trump going to help out the businesses that will go bankrupt with 100% tariffs? Because I don't hear him talking about that. But he'll easily fire up a tweet and say 100% tariffs on China because they're not doing what we want them to do, and they're over here slapping restrictions on us, so we're going to slap 100% tariffs on them. And it's like, bro, buddy, what about the small businesses that are trying to buy their products from China? You're gonna double the price on them and bankrupt our own businesses here? Doesn't make sense to me. DC says $5,000 for gold. That'd be nice. That'd be interesting. I'm not sure. I really feel like this is gonna end up in tears for some people. At some point, I do think we'll get a pullback on gold, and it could come down to that 50-day moving average at $3,400. Chris Klein says, you just think it's funny that they're closed, but they're still doing stuff. Who's closed? Right now, the only thing that's closed is the banks and the bond market. The stock market is still trading today. And of course, crypto trades 24/7. And then there's stock markets around the world are also trading as well. And the banks around the world, they're open. They don't sell Columbus Day. They don't celebrate Columbus Day in Spain or in China or Australia. Those markets are still open for business today. Chris Klein says, I see 4,700 tops for gold. Interesting. Oh, you're talking about the government shutdown? Well, the government shutdown is not really a shutdown either, because the workers are still working for the government. They're just not getting paid. The shutdown is just them not getting paid. That's what the shutdown is. The federal government's still up and running. Some parts are closed. They don't have to actually show up to work, like the federal park workers working at the federal parks, and then also like some people in the SEC aren't showing up to the office. So that's affecting IPOs and affecting some of the regulations for crypto as well, and the crypto ETFs are not coming out because of the SEC being shut down for the most part, but they're still like running with a skeleton crew. And of course the IRS is still collecting your money for taxes. DZ's asking, did we do Pudgy Penguins? No, we haven't, but we can do that. And Chris Klein says, true definition of a company man. Alright, let's see what you guys saying here on TikTok. We got Tariq is in the chat, and of course Chiami. Good to see you guys. Let's go ahead and take a look at Pudgy Penguins for DZ over here. Pudgy Penguins. Let's see. I thought I had, like, yeah, I have my meme coins right next to each other, but where is Pudgy Penguin? I just skipped right over it. There it is. Pudgy Penguins currently up 0.75% today, trading at 0.0259 pennies right now. And I have drawn a Fibonacci that I think is still useful for Pudgy Penguins, so we'll keep that for now. The level to look out for now on Pudgy Penguins is the 0.32 at 0.027 pennies. Could act as resistance, which we're not too far off from here. Just zooming in on Pudgy Penguins, looks like we have used the 100-day moving average as support as of now. I just want to stay above that if we can. And yeah, I think, yeah, 0.32 at 0.027 pennies could act as resistance. And then you also got the 21 EMA. Yeah, that could also come down to 0.32 resistance and act as resistance for Pudgy Penguins as of now. So I think it's going to be tough for Pudgy Penguins to get past 0.2027028 pennies here. But when and if you do, then you got the next level to look for is going to be this 0.5 retracement, sitting at about 3 pennies. So Pudgy Penguin has some levels to work through here to get past if it's going to go to higher prices here. And like I said, 0.27, 0.28, and then of course 3 pennies going to be the levels for resistance. And then to the downside for support, looks like the 200-day moving average has acted as support. You know, we had this really violent red candle that took you below the 200-day moving average, but you didn't actually stay below it. You actually closed above the 200-day moving average. Then here on Saturday, you came down to that 200-day moving average. You acted as it touched it. Try to see if it was acting as support, and it did. So I think the 200-day moving average, which is currently sitting at 2 pennies right now, that is your line in the sand, your last defense line before things get really ugly for Pudgy Penguins. So don't lose 2 pennies, and I think you'll be all right on Pudgy Penguins here. But yeah, that's what I got for Pudgy Penguins so far. Downside target 2 pennies, upside target 3 pennies. Simple enough, right? And then, you know, could it go to higher prices? Well, yeah, I mean, we've seen Pudgy Penguins at 4.5 pennies. It went up to, like, yeah, 4.5 pennies back in July. But if you ever get past that, then, you know, then we'll talk about, like, the 1272 at 5.5 pennies, and then the 1618 at 6.5 pennies. But you got to get past all this resistance above you. You know, these lower highs are going to act as resistance going forward here. We got to start showing that we're capable of making higher highs instead of lower highs on Pudgy Penguins. All right. Chiami, you're welcome. I'm glad you appreciate it. Guys, we're coming up on the 2-hour mark here. I usually go live for like 2 hours. I think I'm going to end the live stream soon here now. Appreciate you guys coming into the chat, asking me about these stocks and crypto. It's good to see that we had a guy here requesting some stocks here. And let's just go back to Bitcoin, because we usually finish up the analysis talking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin at 114,469. I think, you know, we're cautiously optimistic, and we're not quite sure what we're going to do yet here on Bitcoin, because, you know, Donald Trump could change his mind about China at any given moment, and then we might come back down again. If we do come back down again on Bitcoin, I want to stay above this 200-day moving average sitting at 106,900. Don't lose that level, or else it could be game over for the Bitcoin bull run that we've been in. Okay, but if it's not game over, and if Trump can just calm down and not actually say anything more about China and tariffs, then, you know, we could work our way up to the levels here on the Fibonacci. Could we get back up to the 618? I want to see us get up to like $119,000 Bitcoin here. But even better is can we get above 120K? Because like I said earlier in the live stream, you know, we don't stay above 120K for too long. We kind of did for like the longest time in October here. We stayed at above 120,000 for about a week before we lost it. And before that, like, we've only been above 120K for like 1 day here in August. And then here in July, we went up to like 123K, but we couldn't even stay above 120K. So if we can get above 120K and have that actually stick for Bitcoin, then we can start talking about maybe can Bitcoin get up to this 1272 at 131K. But for now, I mean, I think markets are kind of like gathering their breath after having such a violent weekend over the last few days here. And we got to see if these prices are going to hold and stay. Because if they don't, look out below. You got the 200-day moving average as your only line of defense at 107K before it gets even worse than that. But that's going to be it for today, guys. I will see you same time tomorrow. We'll try to do another live stream, 12 to 2 p.m. Eastern time. And just pray that Donald Trump has nothing more to say about tariffs, and I think we'll be all right. Other than that, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.